In Redcar, how often do you hear people say things like,
It used to be a fun place, fun centre. Shops were open, bars were open.
Right now, it's at its worst possible place.
The town wants more done, because when I was little there was loads of shops.
What we want is more shops.
well, soon, that could all be about to change.
I was called by Chris McGlade.
I received a random phone call one Sunday night from Chris McGlade.
Chris came to me and said, I've got a question for you.
He got in touch with me and asked me,
What do you think about an arena for the area?
Chris McGlade is a comedian who's born and bred in Redcar.
He got a bath once a week, he said, whether he needed it or not.
Many times he's fought for the town, like in 2005 when he battled the Persimmon Housing Association in court, who wanted to build homes on the land that's now being talked about for the arena.
I always wanted to try and bring something back to Redcar that would actually regenerate the town, that would actually make it be the childhood town that I remember, do you know what I mean? The town of my childhood, of my youth, when it was buzzing all of the time, you know? I mean, it breaks my heart when I see our high street the way it is.
We live in somewhere where, a high street where McDonald's actually closed because of lack of footfall.
And there was a guy involved with us who'd been involved with our campaign against the housing estate, a leisure developer. Over the course of about 12 years, I'd say, you know, what do you think about this? Should we try and get the coat and ball? Should we try and get the coat and ball? And it never ever came off.
The Coat and Bowl was an entertainment venue located in Redcar. It was most popular during the 70s to the 90s, seeing acts like Whitesnake, Yes and Iron Maiden. The venue was demolished in 2014. Since then, the land has remained barren.
And they were on about putting a kid's pitch and put there and this and that and the other, which for me is ridiculous, because why would you have a kid's pitch and put on one of the most exposed parts of coast? So I went back to this developer and I said, what do we do? And he said, get yourself a steering committee together. So I got a steering committee together like this.
Chris assembled Frankie Wales, Martin Poulter, Roy Myers, Stephen Green, Steve Turner and Paul White. Together, they formed the board of Court Marina Limited.
That's how it all started, and we've all been committed to bringing this arena back to Redcar, because it will be the thing, the spark, the magnet that brings people and business and trade back to this town.
It's not just good for Redcar, it's essential for Redcar. We're a town that has not really moved forward. We've had some great things in terms of the sea defences, the new cinema's great. Personally, I like the vertical pier, but we've got to start thinking commercially.
shops are shutting and places aren't as buoyant as they used to be. The nightlife's not as buoyant.
Prior to the Scarborough Outdoor Theatre, that town was in decline, very much like Redcar is now, and I don't mean that derogatory. I love Redcar, but we need something to invigorate the town centre.
Having an arena in Redcar is 5,000 people coming through your town, footfall.
You can only revigorate the town centre if you have footfall.
That's why all big cities all have them.
All the pubs, all the clubs, restaurants, everything would get footfall.
It's cause and effect principle. It's about bring the numbers in, and then if you bring the numbers in, the demand will be in the high street. People will naturally want to take them empty shops because the footfall's there.
People aren't going to come to Redcar and go, hey, do you know what, we're going to watch a new James Bond film at the new cinema. But they will come and see somebody like Paul Weller, a friend for me from the whole arena, 4,500 people there on a Wednesday night.
If you have footfall, you will build a town centre.
That's why an arena is great for the town. And also, when you get a company like Mott MacDonald involved, when they can see the merits of your idea, then you know you're on a winner.
Mott MacDonald are a multi-billion-pound global engineering, management and development consultancy. They've been involved in hundreds of developments all over the world, like the London Underground Elizabeth line, but also arenas and stadiums like the Bombella in South Africa, the PGE Arena and the new Cardiff Arena.
We contacted the council with a joint effort that was put together by a company called Destination Developments, a guy called Phil Dayton, who's a specialist in this area, along with us, put a proposal to the council.
Court Marina Limited and Destination Developments were given a few months to put a business plan together and submit that to the council to show how it would all work. Mott MacDonald strengthened the proposal with their experience.
And Mott MacDonald have done a lot of work along with Phil Dayton and his organisation to put that plan together, and that was submitted in January this year.
There was never no question would it be a smart business decision. It was would it work on that plot. With my experience of doing developments, when I had a look at that plot of land, kind of had a little walk around and stuff like that, and I said, yeah, do you know what, I think this could actually work.
Mott MacDonald presented the proposal to the council in January. Everything was moving forwards. Investors were lining up. The petition for the arena passed 6,000 signatures. All they needed was the green light for the plot. But then, the council said no.
There was a number of objections that were released last week. I think it was Thursday or Friday.
Were there any points the council had that you agreed with?
None.
I think everything the council put forward was just either pretty negative, short-sighted, or just wrong.
The reaction of frustration came from some of the reasons appearing flawed. The main concerns were that of flooding, site feasibility, and parking. In response, Jim Freeland from Mott MacDonald presented the proposal to the public and addressed all the concerns.
Flooding. It is a problem, because that's the flood map. You can design a building to mitigate flood risk.
The issue of flooding wasn't an issue when they built tuned in.
Look, that's tuned in.
The issue of flooding wasn't an issue when they granted planning permission for a 42-room hotel.
With new hotel, about there. We can cope with it, is what they're saying. And we did a bit of analysis on it, but again, that's something you address at planning. Is the Cotham site suitable? It works brilliantly as an attraction. It works brilliantly for arena events. It works brilliantly for MICE events. And we can fit 2 arenas of the size that we want on there, and we showed them that. It even fits a 12,000 capacity arena.
Mott MacDonald are the biggest operators in the world, and they are telling us that that site has scored as one of the highest sites that they've done any arena on around the entire country. If they didn't believe we can't deliver on that arena, do you think that they would put £67 million worth of their investors' money at risk? And ask yourself that.
The response from the public was fiery.
They're excuses. They're excuses.
But it can be argued that some of the points the council made were valid, like noise disturbance and parking.
You want people coming to an arena, walking and cycling. Why? Because they'll spend more, and it's better for the environment if they do. Typically, you get 2 or 3 people per car to an event. Anywhere from 0 to 1,000 spaces is what we said, and we've already identified 930 in the town. Okay, impact on nearby residential area. Look, this is a valid concern. We can't eliminate disruption from an arena, but what we can do is design it to mitigate it as far as possible.
Mott MacDonald addressed all the concerns, but there was only one councillor in the room to hear it.
And I do genuinely believe that the council initially, some of the concerns they had about flooding, parking, and if the site plans would work, needed to be looked at. So I'm not in disagreement that they did that. I'm in disagreement that they didn't attend to watch the presentation that Mott MacDonald did, because I think that would have given them the answers that they needed far quicker than they got them.
We've just had a big shift. Redcar and Cleveland Council have come to the table and they now said they want to sit down with us to discuss the plans and see how we can possibly take this forward.
No, I think the problem was a lack of communication. So when we put the outline business case in, it was a lengthy document. I mean, I do know from working in community groups since I've retired and working with the council, despite what people think, councillors don't have a lot of spare time. Councillors, you know, even in the big positions, sometimes are working, they've got families and whatnot. So I think it was basically just a lack of communication. I think that was quite quickly, we came together with those, the size of it and whatever the other problems were quite quickly once we started to negotiate.
The town is like steeped in this musical history that's like sadly been lost and eroded, you know, over the years. And we have the chance now to bring that back.
So Redcar Council have come to the table and they've said that they're willing to negotiate now, and that's underway. So they've actually put an offer to us So what we're trying to do at the moment is get an option on the land, and they've put an offer to us. We've gone back, we've counter-offered that because it's a little bit on the heavy side. So we're hoping we can agree something because they're now sat at the table with us, and we just got to agree these finer things, and if we can do that, we can make this happen. There's no question every single person in the local area, not just Redcar, in the surrounding areas as well, will benefit from this.
Does the future of Redcar look bright, in your opinion?
The future of Redcar is massive. I mean, a new arena. You know, this is going to be the place to go. We've gotten jobs from London being pushed down to as government jobs. You know, this area is going to be, people are going to be moving here, not moving away from here. You know, and I feel like the future's bright, the future's orange.
What we do now in regards to delivering that arena to this town will be something that will be felt and enjoyed by future generations, including, hopefully, my 6 grandchildren. I have 6 grandchildren. It would give me the greatest of pleasure to see that built, that arena built for their generation and their children's generation, you know, and for them to inherit a town from us that will be thriving and booming like it was when I was a young man.
The future of Redcar looks bright. I will always say that. I'm a Redcar lad. It's always going to look like bright for me, but with the arena, not only does it look bright, it burns brightly across the country.
People in Redcar are brilliant. They will support things.
Local people actually want this.
Yeah, we need an arena. We need an arena for the young.
And that'll be a good thing for the area, for the people.
That'd be excellent, that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be awesome,
Yeah.
wouldn't
What
it?
about
That'd be
an
good.
arena?
Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Bring up more income.
What would you say at the council?
Let's get it sorted.
The arena would be absolutely crucial for Redcar's growth.
This opportunity with this arena is too good for us to ignore.
So Stephen, has there been any progression regarding the land negotiations?
So right now I feel we're at an interesting point. Me personally, I've had to make a decision because progress wasn't happening quick enough. So over the last year, we've been back and forth. There's been a number of meetings, the amount of emails back and forth, trying to negotiate the land value, the lease length, what the cost would be, putting the proposals together. There's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of hours involved in that. For me personally, I don't think we're progressing quick enough, and it's the reason why I've resigned from the board, because I'm now going to take it a slightly different route in terms of I think we need to look at potentially changing how this area votes. But I'm going to say this, we have just had a response from the council, and I've got to say it's very positive. They've moved a lot on this now, and I also understand that. I get the concerns of, well, what happens if you start it and you can't finish it? What happens with this, with the roads and things like that? So I understand that you've got to have those concerns and look into those things. The document covers all of that, and we've got the biggest consultancy business in the world behind this. It's not some guy from the pub of, do you want to come and do a bit of work on a weekend? We're talking the biggest consultancy company in the world. These guys know what they're doing. They've highlighted that site to be one of the most highly rated sites in the UK because of reasons in that document. So for me right now, I wish the board all the best. I'm really hoping that they can pull this off, because for me, Mary and her team, the cabinet, they're either going to be heroes or zeros right now. I think it's going to be hero or zero, because they could be the party that pulls this off, something that's going to create revenue for this area and change things for many, many years, or they're going to be the party that, because of their lack of listening to the public, maybe the reason why this area changes and as a mayor. So I think it's a very crucial time for Redcar and surrounding areas, and I'm going to now be taking my own journey on this in terms of bringing the change which I think people need. That's if people back that and they say that they want that. If they don't, I'll just walk away from this and I'll carry on with my own life. But if the board are able to deliver this last part with the head of council and the cabinet, then I will happily back away, because there's no objective here for me to be an MP or be in power or anything like that. I just want to see the best for the area. So I think the next few weeks are going to be very interesting, and I intend to do regular updates on this now. The fact that I'm not a part of the board, I can speak out, I can be open, and I can share things. So obviously I won't be privileged to as much as what I was while I was sat in the board, but I can actively follow the journey, and we can also do our own parts depending on what the public want as well. So I'm really hoping that the councillors that are elected and the officers can pull off this, because if they do, then they should be praised for pulling off this, because it's not just about this being private money. You have to have the officers and the cabinet on board, and if they do pull it off, then absolute maximum respect to them. But if they don't, then it's time that they've got to move over, because this area's got to move forward.